It was just after 6 on a cool Tuesday morning when my coffee maker suddenly went silent. The lights flickered once, then everything went black. At first, I figured it was a neighborhood power outage. But when I looked outside, every house around me was glowing with lights except mine. That didn't make any sense. I grabbed a flashlight and walked toward the utility pole at the edge of my property. What I saw stopped me cold. My main power line had been cut clean through, not damaged by a storm, not fallen from the wind. Cut. The copper wire hung loosely from the pole, as if someone had intentionally disconnected my property. I immediately called the electric utility company. The dispatcher sounded concerned. "We'll send a crew right away. Please don't touch the lines." While waiting, I checked my security cameras. At 3:17 a.m., a white HOA maintenance truck slowly rolled onto my private access road. 2 workers climbed out carrying insulated cutters. They walked directly to my utility pole. One of them pointed toward my house while the other climbed the pole. Less than 5 minutes later, they drove away. My entire property had been deliberately disconnected. An hour later, the utility crew arrived. The supervisor watched the footage several times. His expression changed immediately. "Those aren't utility contractors." "No, they're wearing HOA maintenance uniforms." He examined the damaged line. This wasn't authorized. Then he pulled out his phone. Instead of calling another repair crew, he called his regional operations manager. Within 30 minutes, 3 company trucks and 2 investigators arrived. They inspected every pole running through my ranch. That's when one investigator asked me a strange question. "Do you know where this line goes after crossing your property?" I assumed it continued into the neighborhood. He nodded. "It does. But there's something the HOA apparently doesn't understand." He unfolded a large engineering map. Years ago, before the subdivision even existed, my grandfather had signed a permanent utility easement allowing the electric company to run its primary distribution feeder across our land. That single underground and overhead system supplied electricity to the entire neighborhood. The HOA thought they had disconnected one homeowner. Instead, they had damaged the very feeder supplying power to all 118 homes beyond my property. The utility company immediately declared the damaged section unsafe. For safety reasons, they couldn't simply reconnect the neighborhood until a complete inspection was finished. Around noon, the first lights went out inside the subdivision. One house after another lost power. Air conditioners shut off. Garage doors stopped working. Internet service disappeared. Within 20 minutes, the entire neighborhood sat in silence. Meanwhile, my house was running perfectly. The utility company had connected me to a temporary generator while repairs continued. By early afternoon, angry homeowners flooded the HOA office demanding answers. Karen, the HOA president, confidently stepped outside. "This has nothing to do with us." At that exact moment, 3 utility investigators arrived. Behind them came 2 county inspectors. And just a few minutes later, a sheriff's deputy parked beside the clubhouse. Everyone suddenly became very quiet. The utility supervisor walked directly toward Karen. "Did your maintenance crew perform work on utility equipment this morning?" Karen folded her arms. "We removed an illegal power connection." The supervisor stared at her. "Illegal?" "Yes." The homeowner refused to comply with HOA regulations. He slowly held up photographs taken by his crew. "The line you cut belongs to the electric utility." Karen's confidence vanished. "Our maintenance manager said it was ours." The supervisor shook his head. "You don't own utility infrastructure. You damaged a protected electrical distribution system." The sheriff stepped forward. "Who authorized the work?" Karen hesitated. Then she quietly answered, "I did." The deputy wrote something in his notebook. The utility company immediately issued a stop work order against the HOA. Their maintenance equipment was seized for inspection. County officials began documenting every unauthorized modification the HOA had made near utility easements over the past several years. The list kept growing. Improper fencing, unauthorized excavation, concrete poured over buried utility markers, blocked access roads. Every violation carried another penalty. Residents couldn't believe what they were hearing. Many had trusted Karen for years. Now they were learning she had repeatedly ignored legal boundaries she didn't understand. As the evening approached, emergency repair crews finished replacing the damaged feeder line. Power slowly returned to every home. Cheers echoed through the neighborhood. But Karen wasn't celebrating. 2 weeks later, the utility company filed a lawsuit seeking hundreds of thousands of dollars in repair costs, emergency response expenses, and infrastructure damages. The county issued additional civil penalties. Insurance refused to cover most of the losses because the damage resulted from an authorized work. During the next HOA meeting, homeowners demanded Karen resign immediately. The vote wasn't even close. She lost her position that night. Months later, one of my neighbors stopped by while I was working near the same utility pole. He smiled awkwardly. I guess the HOA picked the wrong power line. I laughed. They didn't just cut my electricity. They cut power to the entire neighborhood. Sometimes the biggest mistake isn't ignoring the law. It's assuming you own something that was never yours in the first place. And in the end, the lights came back on. But Karen's time as HOA president stayed permanently in the dark.